Hey guys, so I wanted to do a quick book review. I had heard about this book a while ago, and unfortunately I don't have it anymore. I just turned it back into the library. But, well, that's cute. I have this crazy spiky hair in the back. But there was this book that I had heard about from a professor, and she had said that when she was previously teaching high school in East Palo Alto, which is a rough neighborhood, that the kids loved this book, which I have no idea how she even got permission to teach it. They must have had to sign permission slips because it has lots of cussing, lots of graphic descriptions. It was uncomfortable to read, so I can't imagine normally just bringing that in the classroom. But she said that other kids from other classes would come in to hear the story because it was so intriguing to the kids. So anyway, I had recently heard something through the grapevine about the movie coming out, and so I decided to check it out. So anyway, the book is called Push, and it's by Sapphire. That's her pen name. And oh my gosh, like I couldn't put it down. So the movie that's coming out, I guess Oprah is all about it, and so that means it'll probably do pretty well, although I have no idea how they're going to adapt it to the screen. They named the movie Precious. They were going to call it Push, but I guess there's another movie that just came out called Push, so they didn't want any confusion. So they changed the title to Precious. So the book is about this girl, and it starts out, I believe she's 16, although she writes about her experiences when she was 12, and then by the end of the book she's 18. But Precious Jones is her name, and she's this overweight African-American girl. And the book is written not necessarily phonetically, but because her spelling is so poor and her reading skills when she starts writing, everything is like spelled how she would guess it was spelled. So it's a little bit difficult to read at first, and then it gets easier as you go along. But the story starts out, and she's this 12-year-old girl, and she's talking about how she was pregnant with her first kid when she was 12 because her father kept raping her. So it's an incest story, and the rape scenes are really graphic. And really weird too, because she describes like the guilt and the pleasure and the horrible feelings, and like how her mother beats her, and her mother's an alcoholic, and I guess when she has her first kid when she's 12 years old, like her mother is kicking her on the floor while she's giving birth to the child. So anyhow, when she's 16, I don't want to tell you guys too much, but when she's 16 she gets and I'm summarizing, not reviewing, that's terrible. I always tell my students not to do that. But when she's 16, she gets kicked out of school and sent to a continuation school. And her mother doesn't want her to go, but she decides to go anyway. And it's through the teacher there who starts working with her and teaching her to read and write, basically from the beginning, like ABCs, that she starts to kind of realize that there's a better life for her out there. So all kinds of crazy stuff happens to her. Like later on in the story, a bunch of other things happen that are really just, you know, every bad possible thing that could happen happens to this girl. And yet at the same time there's like a glimmer of hope. But the way it's written, it's just, oh, there were parts where I felt like sick to my stomach. There were parts where I was just like nauseous reading it. It's really powerful, and so I can see why kids would be just kind of blown away, because I'm sure that they don't read stuff like that, you know, that's that rough around the edges. And I guess the film is being done by the same guy who did Monsters Ball with Halle Berry, which was also like kind of shocking. So I'm assuming that since he's doing it, they'll find a way to stay true to the novel, but maybe not, you know, I'm sure they don't want like an X rating, or maybe it just won't be rated, I don't know. But yeah, gosh, it's insane. Like, you should read it. If you're queasy, maybe not so much, but it was such a good book, and especially for, you know, an empowering book for kids who think that there's no other life out there for them, or, you know, that they have to follow in the footsteps of their parents, and that's just not the case. So, really powerful. The writing was just impeccable, and the girl starts writing poetry, which is really neat, and then it also shares the stories of the other girls who are in the continuation school with her, who also have kind of terrible, unbelievable backgrounds. So it's, like I said, it's graphic, it's tough, but it's honest, and I couldn't put it down. I think it's only, I want to say near 200 pages, maybe a little less, and it's a quick read. The most difficult part is just the language because of the writing style. But like I said, as she progresses and gets closer to 18 years old, her writing gets better. I think I'm rambling and repeating, but there's also kind of an interesting scenario where the lady who works at the halfway house where she ends up, you know, Miss White Lady, is supposed to be there to help her, you know, make a better life for herself, and she is opposed to her being in school and learning and, you know, making something of herself because it will take too long. So her opinion, and Precious ends up finding out because she steals her own file to find out what's been written, but they want her to basically be a like a bed nurse, you know, kind of somebody who goes to an old person's home and just helps them 6 days a week. She would be living there. She'd only see her kids, you know, 1 day a week. The first child is born with Down syndrome and is taken away from her, and her second child is born normal and she keeps the baby with her. But that's interesting too, to see her struggle with, you know, hating the baby and then loving the baby and then wanting the baby to have a better life and then coming to terms with the first baby's problems and wanting to learn how to handle that. So, gosh, yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. You might find it hard to read, but it's worth reading. So, that's my take on that, and I'll make sure to put the author, and I never know which way it is. I always tell myself it's, I think, left. It's over there. Maybe it's over there. Maybe it's over here. Maybe it's my other left. But the author and the title of the book over there. So check it out. You can get it at the library. You can probably find it at a used bookstore. You can order it on Amazon used. But yeah, it was a really neat book. And there's a couple other ones I've been reading too that hopefully I'll do a review on those soon. I thought about cramming them all together, but yeah, so check that out. It's called Push by Sapphire. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there's any other books you're interested in. I can pick them up and read them, or maybe I've already read it. I have a huge guilt list. I have probably about 50 books that I have at home that I haven't read yet, and I just keep buying more, so I should get to some of those soon. Alright, I just hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you later. Bye.